got it only in one ear. All right, welcome back to the Couch Live. What did I do to this? Welcome back to the Couch Live here on rock100diz.com.
He always gets tangled up.
I'm in one ear only. Both ears?
Serves you right. I'm in both ears.
Of course, I screwed him up somehow during the break. Anyway, this is a YouTube segment of the Couch Live here on rock100diz.com. And, of course, thanks to Holistic Lifestyles Radio, also on Blog Talk Radio from them. And our good sponsors, thanks to them, www.dlmsuccess.usana.com. That's dlmsuccess.usana.com for all their nutritional supplements and natural energy drinks. All right. Anyway, hey, did you notice we got the shirts today? Nobody said anything about the shirts.
The shirts.
Thanks to my boy Jeremy from Search Outside the Box. You see that?
Jeremy, thank you.
Awesome shirts.
Got the shirts.
Beautiful,
so this is the
Jeremy.
first YouTube segment with our actual shirts that he provided for us. It's the old logo, but it looks good, right?
Looks very good.
I didn't know you had a new logo.
Yeah. You don't go to the site either. Hey, the site, oh, there it goes. It just popped in all of a sudden. Hey, the new site, 2 weeks up, and it already has a rating from Google. Is that cool or what?
Nice.
All right, so we're talking about the difference between doing and being. Doing is what?
Doing is being invested in what you do for a living. What you do.
Some examples are?
What you do for a living, being a doctor, being
Exactly.
a lawyer, an accountant, anything.
All right, let's see if Chris was listening. Examples of being is what, Chris?
DJ, a daddy.
No, that's doing.
That's doing.
He still doesn't get it. The being is honest, loyal, trustworthy,
Oh,
daddy,
is that
father.
like thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent?
I have no idea.
Remember
That's your
that
church.
from Boy Scouts?
But I've never.
You weren't a Boy Scout, Doc?
No.
And I wasn't allowed. So,
My grandmother got pregnant in Cub Scouts, and it was all downhill after that.
wow, that sounds like a scandal. and anyway, so the example, the difference is that when you focus on what you do, you may compromise who you really are. And if you focus on who you are and how, your honesty, integrity, and all that stuff, you may not make as much money, you may suffer financially, but at least you're always going to be happy with the end result. You're going to be happy with the quality of life that you end up having. What you need to do is your focus. If your focus is on those values of who you are, you're always going to be satisfied with where you end up. You may have some pitfalls. You may, like right now, there's people out there suffering financially because maybe they feel, man, I didn't pick the right occupation. I didn't go to school. I should have studied more. I should have done this. I should have done that. I shouldn't have bought this business. I should have invested it here instead of there. I should have sold this before that. Whatever. The fact is, if you're a good, honest person, loving person, your marriage can survive this. Your sobriety can survive this. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people, they're not focused on that. They're focused on the doing part, and they're having problems in their relationship. They're divorcing. They're fighting, and all that stuff.
Well, your core will be intact if you're focused on, if you're focused on your values. Your core will be intact, regardless of what happens in life.
Mm-hmm.
And especially during these economic times, you could do everything right.
Yeah.
You could have an MBA. You could have trained well.
Right.
You could have had a great occupation 2 years ago, and there are a lot of people in this position.
That's right.
And have been making six-figure incomes. And today these are men and women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s who are waiting tables because they've got a great work ethic, but because their companies were downsized and no fault of their own. Mm-hmm. They had great careers, and they were doing very well, and again through no fault of their own, but through an ugly economy and a company that had to downsize in order to stay afloat. They had to be let go.
Exactly.
But if you're focused on your core values, you're still gonna your family's still gonna be intact. People are gonna pull together. People are gonna do whatever it takes, and be reasonably happy throughout that process.
That's right. You can make it through.
Right.
And that's the important thing, making it through whatever tough times you have. See, you have to be motivated to make it through on a daily basis. This is why we constantly talk about a daily program. That's why the 12 steps, constantly talk about a daily program, because you can only move forward one day at a time. You can't jump steps. You can't, immediately project yourself into a year from now. And too many of us are living a year back from that just passed. You can only focus on today. And that motivation requires a lot of focus, daily reinforcement. You got to reinforce your motivation daily. focus on those core values, those core morals, those ethics that you have, and you focus on that on a daily basis, and you will get through whatever tough time that you're going through. If you have to go retrain. If you have to take a lesser job, and your ego has to take a hit right now, then that's what you do. You take a lesser job, and your ego takes a hit right now. Everybody is suffering. Nobody is immune to what's going on right now, one way or another.
But if that's, like we mentioned in the first segment, if you're not introducing yourself as, hi, I'm Dr. So-and-so, or hi, I'm the...
That's right.
And stating your position, no, that's not who you are.
That's right.
That's what you do for a living.
Exactly. Yeah, and
hopefully who you are is something better than that.
Yeah, that's the movement I want to push. I want to push that kind of movement of when you meet somebody, see if you can go those first 15 minutes without even getting into what you do for a living. I don't care what you do. Just see if you could just find out if you can get into more of the other stuff. Whether they're a father, whether they're married, if those people are with them, but see if you could just focus on other things other than right away get into, this is my status in society, because I think that instantly makes some of you feel bad about yourself, and that instantly makes some of you feel overly good about yourself. It's just like if you're driving a BMW and you're right next to the car that the muffler is hanging off by a wire. You know what I mean? If you're in that car where your muffler's hanging off by a wire and that BMW breaks down, you don't really feel sorry for that person too much. You know what I mean? Have you ever driven by like a real fancy car pulled over on the side of the road that's broken down?
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you feel bad for him?
No, they probably had, roadside assistance.
Exactly. That's exactly what you think.
They're all good.
They'll make a phone call.
That's right.
Right. And then, they'll probably call OnStar or something and say, hey, can you restart my car? Send me gas through the phone line or something.
It's like, oh, that ain't right. Oh,
yeah,
those Porsches are not supposed to break down.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to give you an idea. I broke down one time. I had a flat tire, pulled over. You don't really see police officers help people, or you don't think so. And I never thought so. A lieutenant pulls over, sees that I'm taking out my golf clubs. I'm sure it had to do with the golf clubs. I'm sure of it. Sees that I'm having to move the golf clubs to get to the extra tire. The guy pulls over. The lieutenant even tells me, we're not allowed to really help people like this anymore, but I can see you're struggling. I probably just looked like I didn't know what I was doing. But he says, I see you're struggling. The lieutenant actually changed my tire for me. A lieutenant. Police officer. Didn't know who I was. Halfway changing it, he goes, by the way, and then he asked me, and then I said, yes, that's exactly what I do and who I am. He goes, oh, okay. All right. And then he took off. Wasn't that cool?
That's very cool. He probably thought you were just going to take out the 9-iron. He said, oh, that didn't work for Mrs. Woods. Don't do it, buddy.
But stop it. He's doing fantastic at the Masters right now, by the way. Yeah. Anyway, it's on right now. We're missing it. I actually should throw it on the laptop. But actually, if I was sitting in one of, and I drove, a white truck with a green door for how long, Chris? 6 months, 8 months? That was my personal. Yeah, I did a personal experiment to myself. I did a personal a challenge to myself. I wanted to challenge it. I enjoyed it. I saw the way I was treated differently. The way people responded to me was different when I was driving that old, beat-up white pickup truck with the green door. But you know what? I really enjoyed it. There was no expectations on me whatsoever. Plus, people move out of your way kind of quick. When you have a vehicle that looks like you don't care if it wrecks or not, everybody scatters. You know what I mean? It was an interesting dynamic. But so focus on who you are. Keep that motivation reinforced. Remind yourself of who you really are, your daily purpose, your purpose of being. I want to be an honest man. I want to be a good person. Doesn't matter what you do for a living. You'll get through this. You'll get through this time. Any last words before we close up this YouTube segment?
Tell the people you care about that you love them.
Absolutely. All right, so thanks to dlmsuccess.usana.com. Thanks to Holistic Lifestyles Radio, and, of course, rock100diz.com for this. Go to thedopedoctor.com for more information on this blog and many others. All right, that was the YouTube segment. See you on the other side of the break.